Good day, everybody. Welcome to another day in the life of TLE. Just wanted to do a little update on my week and mention something that I found to be interesting slash a little humorous. Um, so this week I had 4 appointments. Two of them included physical therapy, and I also met with both the neurologist and a pulmonologist. The pulmonologist was a bit detached. I think she had probably read notes on my chart and just kind of took it from there and wanted to proceed with tapering me down from the steroids, which I'm really happy about, but yet nervous about too, because I don't want the pneumonia to come back and I don't want the shortness of breath to progress. So, kind of in limbo about that mentally. I did start 25. I started at 25 milligrams this week, and I'm hoping to go all the way off soon. I haven't heard from the oncologist yet regarding treatment and what the pulmonologist had to say regarding treating my lungs and the transplant. So I'm waiting to hear back from him. Looking forward to discussing what he thinks and the next step or whatever that may be. I'm not really interested in taking chemo number 5. This is one body that's been through quite a bit over the last 14 to 15 months. And if I had control of that, I would opt out because my body is going through a lot of changes as a result of toxicity, poisoning, and things of that nature. And then to couple that with the neuropathy, and I'm also having some really bad back problems lately, and very recently my blood pressure has been really high and I've been pretty dizzy over the last couple of weeks, which that's something that's really new. And I was told that steroids could be the reason for that. Nevertheless, my body is reacting to all this stuff, and I'm hoping to give it a break eventually. So that's that. On that note, I have had quite a few doctor's appointments over the last 2 weeks. I feel like my life has consisted of doctor's appointments actually for this week, 4 days this week, back and forth, and probably about the same last week. So I want to mention something that I've been noticing over time since all of this started with as far as my medical history. So when I originally went to the doctor back in August of 2013, I believe, the first thing that was listed on my chart as a symptom or cause for coming to the doctor was anemia. And then I just want to talk about the progression as time has progressed. So we started with anemia, and then it went to inflammation. And then after a couple of months of trying to track down and discover what that actually meant, then it was Hodgkin's lymphoma. And so, as time progressed, whatever the new symptoms or diagnosis or whatever it was that was added to my list of symptoms, or whatever the case may be, what I started noticing is that doctors doesn't necessarily tell you what's going on or what's the new prescribed thing or not prescribed thing, but diagnosed issue or illness. And so today, when I was leaving the hospital, I noticed another thing added to the list, and I always find it interesting because the last time I noticed something that was added to my list of medical conditions was the pulmonary toxicity due to bleomycin, and so no one had told me about that. I just happened to read it, just like I'm reading a medical report right now. And so the list of conditions right now says Hodgkin's disease, interstitial, I don't even know how to pronounce this, lung disease, neuropathy, organized pneumonia, peripheral neuropathy, secondary to drugs or chemicals, and then there is a pulmonary toxicity due to bleomycin. And so I just find it interesting how, all these things are like added to your list of conditions, and no one tells you that you actually have these conditions. Like, I'm reading it on a piece of paper and like trying to figure out what exactly does these things mean, and how does it affect my life, and what to expect, and are these things that I will have to always deal with. And so it's just interesting that doctors do not tell you this stuff. I'm not really sure why, but I found it to be interesting, and it has been my experience throughout all of this over the last year and a half, where things are just listed on a piece of paper, but no one is communicating these things to the human. Like, I'm there. Like, why wouldn't you discuss that? I'm not sure if that's normal. It's just been my experience, and I don't feel like it's normal. And if it is normal, I don't think it should be normal. It's ridiculous, actually. So the other thing that I've noticed is that at times when I go to the doctor, they'll mention something that was listed on my chart by one of the doctors or social workers or whomever that I had seen previous to the next person. And so I don't always feel comfortable with the notes, because I feel like a lot of the notes are based on, I'm not really sure what they're based on, actually. There have been times where people have said, oh, well, this person said that you wanted this, or this person said that you made this remark, or whatever the case may be. And it's a little troubling, because I feel like, there are notes or marks that are made, and I don't have any access to them, and they could be good or bad, or they could be true or not true. That makes me a little anxious at times. And also, there's nowhere that they get to make notes, but I don't get to make notes, nor do I get to read the notes. And I may be a little immature about this, but it's just, I've been presented, or several times, I've been presented with conversation, or even things that I hadn't even heard about, or they were not even a concern of mine that had been noted on my chart. And I'm like, I don't really know what you're talking about, or why did they put that on there, But so I don't really like that system. I think it's a bit weird. Like, I understand that notes have to be made. I understand that there's that's the form of communication, the form of tracking things. I get all of that, but I'm still a little bothered by it, especially on a personal level, whereas someone is communicating something that's a concern or a need for me that is not necessarily an actual concern or need, or someone is communicating something based on what they perceive or what they think they perceive. And it just makes me feel a little weird when I'm being presented with that. Like, if I'm going to see the pulmonologist and you're mentioning something that a social worker said, or whatever the case may be, 2 weeks ago, it catches me off guard, and I don't always know how to react to it. So that's just that, and I try to find humor in some of the stuff, or sometimes I probably overanalyze some of the stuff too. But yeah, so I just wanted to mention that, like, this list is constantly growing and no one says anything about it. Like, you have like 95 conditions and not even always aware of them. So yeah, I have a new one today. I don't know what's going to happen next week, but hopefully nothing, because I have enough going on. And so I'm going to get ready and end this video because I am going to have lunch in a couple of seconds, and because I don't want to make it really long. But so next week, I think I want to talk about my experience with social workers inside of the hospital. That has been something that I wanted to talk about for some time, but I wanted to think about what I wanted to say about it, as well as make sure I had the energy, because that is a topic that is really, really something that I wanted to visit and do an overview on my experience and observation with the department at large. So yeah, and also one of my friends from a cohort in grad school, who's actually a social worker, wants to do some dialogue with me. So I'm really excited about that. And she's really good with like understanding and articulating a lot of my concerns and thoughts, and she's very respectful. And so it's just, I'm really excited about that, because I want to talk about some of the things that I've observed, and just kind of have some dialogue. And I'm wondering if there are more people who have the same thoughts or experiences. And so yeah, that's something that I will be visiting on next week, and stay tuned for that. And until next time, enjoy. Oh, tomorrow is our second walk. So I started a group called Walking Survivors, and I'm really excited about that. I originally wanted to walk with people who are in treatment or in treatment, recently done with treatment, and or in remission. That was the initial thought. But then I realized that I am a survivor of many things, and there are a lot of other people who are surviving or have survived other things. And I just kind of wanted to open it up to people at large, whatever you survive, whether it's a loss or a divorce or, whatever. Because if you're living, you survived something. And so just wanted to acknowledge that, as well as promote something healthy, and it's motivating me to get out and walk. I've gained over 100 pounds since I've been in treatment, and yeah, it's time to do something about that. I hate that my body isn't in the best condition, and that I'm having these neuropathy symptoms and back pain, but I am still, interested in doing what I can, and I can't run, or I'm not the fastest person, or whatever the case may be. I'm actually pretty slow these days, but I want to do something, and I'm excited about that. So that's tomorrow, and I'm going to end this video. Have a good one.